What's up, fellas? UFC 311 is upon us. We have Islam Makhachev versus Tsarukyan. I have some great picks. We have some great fights. And I've got some good underdog plays for you as well. We have a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's bust it wide open. First fight is going to be Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. I think Clayton Carpenter can do everything that Tagir can do. I think Clayton Carpenter is a great dog in this spot. I went back and forth on this. But on the other hand, Clayton Carpenter is small and he's not very good defensively on the feet. Then you have Tagir, who is not very good defensively with the wrestling. Even though he's a good pressure wrestler and he is a good offensive wrestler, I worry about that. And he's big for the weight class, so I also worry about how his cardio will hold up with him cutting so much weight. That being said, I'm going to play it safe here. I think Carpenter's a good dog if you have him, but I will take Tagir. Then we have Ricky Turcios versus Bernardo Sapage. Ricky Turcios is a creative striker. He does everything pretty good, but nothing great. And I think that going up against Bernardo Sapage, I think he's going to be too physical for him, too aggressive for him, and I believe that, Ricky may end up getting hurt out there. So I'm going to go with Bernardo Sapage. But we hope that Ricky gets it done. Y'all know Ricky is half Filipino. I've been to the Philippines many times. I love the Kabayan. I love the Philippines, and I always root for them. And I love Ricky, so I hope he can get it done. But I have to go where the money is, and I think the money is going to be on Bernardo Sapage. And then we have Rinya Nakamura versus Munin Gafarov. I was all over Gafarov when this fight first got made. But that's because on paper it made sense. But then when you really look at it, is he really that good a wrestler? Is he really that good a striker? Is he going to be much of a threat to a guy like Nakamura? I'm not sure anymore. I think Nakamura is a good enough wrestler and a good enough striker to contend in this fight, and smart. He's a really smart guy, methodical guy. I think he can get it done. I'm going to go with Nakamura. Cara Rosa versus Ailin Perez. Ailin Perez has been working on her hands. Her striking looks better. She's got a new striking coach. Her wrestling is still there and still improving. Then you have Cara Rosa, which, she's okay, but she's not really great anywhere. I don't think she's a threat to Ailin Perez. So I'm going to take Ailin Perez. Ailin Perez will be my, what is that? Yeah, that's my first underdog of the card and probably my most confident underdog in the card. I like Ailin Perez here. Then we have Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. I went back and forth on this fight as well. Dawson is going to do what Dawson does, take him down, ground and pound, pressure wrestling, hold him down, maybe threaten some submissions. And Ferreira is susceptible to all of that. But can Dawson do that for 3 rounds straight without getting caught? We saw Rebecca try to do it. We saw a lot of fighters try to do it. And Diego has that equalizer, man. And Dawson can get cracked, which we've seen before. This is another fight where they're both really close. And whoever you have is a good pick. But for this one, I'm going to go with Diego. I think that the pressure will get to him. He'll be in some spots, but he's going to be on the feet long enough to where he can land something. I think he can hurt Dawson. And I'm going to go with Ferreira. And then we have Zach Reese versus Azamat Bekoev. Never heard of this guy. This fight was just made, so it's hard to pick. I was going to go with Reese when he was fighting Damas, but Damas is out. So I think now I'm going to go ahead and take Azamat Bekoev. He seems pretty well-rounded. Dude from Russia. When you see these names, you typically trust him. Reese has not shown us a whole lot in the UFC, but I do think he's much, much better than people have given him credit for, and I do think he will bounce back from this and continue to actually do good things. He's got some good striking in here. This shouldn't be a wash, but I do like Hazamat better, so I'm going to go with him. And then we have Jaden Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Jaden Almeida is good everywhere. His striking is actually not that bad. He probably doesn't have the power like Sergey Spivak's got, which is worrisome. Sergey Spivak's also a pretty decent wrestler himself. This could be a sleeper dog, but I got to pick with Almeida. Almeida has gotten me a lot of wins. A lot of money has been made on him. He's a solid fighter. And we all know his game, and he works it well. I mean, he even did it to Blaze before he got caught. I got to roll with Almeida here. Then we have Peyton Talbot versus Ronnie Barcelos. Barcelos is crafty vet, good striker, can do a little bit of everything. Might give Peyton Talbot a little bit of trouble in that first minute or two while they're figuring each other out. But Peyton Talbot, being a young guy who is very well rounded himself, I think that the longer this fight goes, the more dangerous it's going to get for Barcelos. I think Barcelos will meet his end here, and Peyton Talbot will win. Then we have Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Elinkana. Billy Elinkana is another newcomer, which they replaced. Who did they replace with? Oh, Johnny Walker. Yeah, and I had Bogdan winning that. And I had Bogdan winning this. If you were going to fight Johnny Walker, and now you're preparing for this guy, it's going to be a much easier fight for him. Guskov is on the come up. I like him, and I think he could probably get a knockout finish here. You never know with this Elinkana guy. There's still much more to be seen, but I think Bogdan is a solid play. Then we have Kevin Holland versus Rainer de Ritter. Close fight. Whoever you take here, again, I'm not mad at you, and I don't trust Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland has good enough jiu-jitsu to maybe stay out of trouble early in the fight and at least get back to his feet. If he can get back to his feet, Rainer de Ritter doesn't have great striking and he gets hit a lot. I do believe that Kevin Holland can knock him out. I actually had Gerald Meerschaert by knockout when they fought. That didn't work out. He actually got a submission over him, which was crazy. But I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna ride with Kevin Holland one more time. I feel like in those instances where it's on the feet, that Kevin Holland can hurt him. So I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland by KO. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Money Moicano, baby. We love to see him, and we got to acknowledge how far he's come and how good he is. But this is a tough matchup for him. Dariush is a solid underdog pick here. And I was on him all week. And then I flipped. I am going to go with Moicano. They're kind of a mirror match. Okay striking, deceptive power in their own right. But really their bread and butter is the jiu-jitsu game. And Beneil's the better wrestler. So when you're looking at this on paper, you're kind of going to go, you ought to go with Beneil to be honest. But Moicano's got that heart, man. I think when it gets in those battles of toughness and who really wants it, which a lot of his fights tend to be going like lately, he's a hard guy to count out. So I will take money Moicano. Then we have Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is technical, lacking in a lot of other areas though, and I do think that Yuri Prochazka has better wrestling and is more well-rounded, shockingly. I think the craziness of Yuri could eventually frustrate Jamal Hill, and that Yuri can land a heavy shot and probably get a KO or a scramble and end up with a strange submission. But I'm going to edge this fight for Yuri Prochazka, especially since Jamal Hill has been pretty inactive lately and kind of seems like he's in his head a lot, right? So I can't really trust that. Let's go with Yuri. Then we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. This is another close one, but I have to tell you, when you have two wrestlers, they end up striking. And who has the better striking? Umar. Who has the better coaching and everything behind him? You know, it's probably also Umar, because we've seen a lot of champions come out of the Weidman. It's Weidman camp, right? But how many have really been there lately with Aljo? You know, Aljo